I'm Brian V, and this is Why We Work. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking with Andrew Roberts. Andrew Roberts is a podcaster, but also he is the founder of Black Gamut Entertainment, which is a host of podcasts that work together for the local communities. I want to find out how hard it was to start this network and how he is making an impact in his community. Join me in my conversation today with Andrew Roberts. I'm Brian V, and this is Why We Work. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking with Andrew Drew Roberts. Good, I guess for you, it's evening, young man.
That's right. Yep. It's evening over here.
Andrew, thank you for coming on. You and I just had a brief little chat, and I think you have a lot to offer this show today. Can you give us a little rundown of who you are and what you're up to these days?
Yeah. My wife and I started Black Gamut Entertainment, and basically, what we're trying to accomplish is strengthening our community in the most organic way possible, so that it's real and so that it's actually gonna make a difference. And while incorporating podcasting along with that, because I've been doing that for years now, and went to school for general media, and so we basically put this thing together, and it's taken off a little bit now. So we're super excited about that. I'm a father of six. We stay in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. That is not the favorite place of many people who visit this lovely city, but this is my home and I love it here.
Yeah, but the Browns
Um,
are doing well.
yes, they are. Yes, they're playing a little. They're playing about an hour, and I can't wait. Here we
I
go.
better hurry then.
Hey, no problems, no problems at all.
I thank you for this again, Andrew. Can you bring us back though? And you mentioned to me that you have six kids, and all the power to you. Me having two, and you, I because I had heard your baby in the background, and like you have yourself a crew, and it's not easy. So I think that's why I said you have a lot to offer this show. But can you bring us back to what would have been your very first job, even as a teenager, official or unofficial? Something that you would have done, maybe even volunteering as a young kid?
Oh, shoveling driveways. Northeast Ohio gets blasted with snow. So that was a real easy, as soon as you get to a certain age, as a young man, you start wanting things,
How
like
old were you
video
then when
games.
how old were you then when you picked up your first shovel to make a dollar?
Oh, to make some money, 10. I was
Nice.
10.
Nice.
Yep. Oh yeah. When I went out knocking, went to neighbors' houses. I went to my friends' houses first. And then everybody saw me out there in the neighborhood working, and they was like, hey, you can come over here, you can come over here, you can come over here. So, I was able to buy oh man, I think what did I it wasn't a Sega, PlayStation. I
Hmm.
bought I bought myself a PlayStation with that winter. So that was pretty cool. And
So getting up into your teens, did you also do some different things besides shoveling snow?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I was after school janitor when I was 14. I worked at McDonald's. Let's see.
What is your
What else did I?
motivation at that time? Like even at 10? Yeah, I know
But
you
well,
wanted a PlayStation, but like did someone tell you to get out of the house and go make a dollar, or you were really self-driven?
well, no. I asked my mom. No, the self-driven part didn't come for me,
Okay.
so easily because my mom. It was just me and my mom growing up. It was just
Yeah,
me
me
and
too.
her and I. Yeah, Batman and Robin. And I would just ask her for things all the time. And she'd be like, you know what? Let me help you out with something here. It's like you can stop asking me for all this money. Let me tell you how to make a couple dollars. And
Yeah.
so I've taken it a long way. All the lessons she's taught me. That's for sure.
It's funny, like, so what you're saying is just you and your mom, myself and my mom, and
Mm.
it's in some ways it's a really horrible situation, but we learn a lot of great values, a lot of great lessons growing up with just our mom, learning moms out there working, maybe for you too, couple of jobs, few jobs,
Yeah.
working hard, a lot of hours, and we're learning at a young age to take a lot more responsibility. I mean, there's other ways we could have learned,
Yeah.
and it's not the greatest of situations, but there's some thinking of parents too, listening, single parents, like you can instill some great values to your kids no matter the situation that you find yourself in. And I think that's what you're saying with what happened with your mom too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, she always had a story for me or a lesson to tell me that has not changed. You know, even
Mm,
still. But yeah, a lot of the things that she instilled into me was work ethic. I had to put in the work, you know, to get things done. I didn't have a choice.
yeah,
You know,
it's
yeah, and
funny.
she was working her ass off too at the
Yeah,
time. So it was she
absolutely.
2 jobs, you know, so I had to fend for myself for a little while, but she guided me into how to, you know, make the right decisions, what to do, what not to do. And like when I did do the things that she told me not to and bad stuff happened, she's like, okay, so was I lying to you? Do you understand now? And I'll be like, okay, yeah, I get it. All right,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
funny, the lessons that we learned, we can learn from people, parents as well. They're not perfect. We can learn what to do and what not to do from them. And
yeah,
regardless, there's a lesson in there, and I hope listeners understand that well enough, because there's a lot of people, Andrew, that get bitter with their parents. So they come up with a
mhm,
tough situation, then they're bitter. Well, you can take some of that bitterness and turn it into a lesson as well, right? And
yeah,
understand a little bit from their shoes, where they came from, what they were going through, the difficulties, especially as we get older, Andrew, having kids and
right,
like, mom, you were
yep,
raising me all by yourself, right? I
right,
can't imagine. I can't even do this with my wife. Like,
right, right,
it's tough
with a
enough,
team.
right?
Mm,
With the team, it's tough. And mom, you were doing it. And I turned out all right, mom, right?
right.
As you got into McDonald's and stuff, were you seeing some pathways, some things that you wanted to do?
I knew that I never wanted to work in food again, and I haven't.
It's
So
true.
that opened up my eyes to, you know, people and their ways and how they change because people would come into McDonald's that I knew personally and be totally different because they were getting food. And you know, so I was just like, you're not like this. What are you doing? What is happening right now? Like I'm in the back flipping burgers. I see them up front at the counter freaking out, you know,
Over a burger.
it's over a burger or over whatever, you know, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, this is weird. Why do people change when food is involved? I don't like that, you know.
That's a good
So
point.
yeah, I got out of there. I got out of that, and then I headed on to my first like decent job. I got a job at the Children's Hospital in the area.
How old were
Uh,
you then?
I was when I got that job, I was 16. I was
What what
16.
what what was the job and what made you go there?
I took a business prep class when I was in high school, so I had to like travel high schools to take this class, and
Yeah.
I was like I said, 16, and at first I was just filing.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just filing
Yeah.
stuff and doing this and that and whatever, and then my role grew a little bit, and so I was doing a little bit more, and so they started switching me to different departments and different wings of the hospital. You know, I was well known and well liked and everything. And then I graduated and they were like, okay, bye. And I was like, wait, what? What do you mean? They're like, oh, you can apply, you know, but
Mhm.
there's a waiting list.
Oh, that was for
And I
just
was like,
being a student for yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I didn't even understand that part. I thought I
Yeah.
was good. I was like, you guys just keep me. I love it. You love
I'm
me. I
gonna
love you. This is
I'm gonna
great.
ride this out. And they're like,
Yeah, I just yeah, exactly. I'd have stayed there for way too long.
yeah.
I'm sure. But you know, working a lot of different jobs, it just opened up my eyes to different scenarios and different people,
Yeah.
and you know, different situations where I had to react a certain way to get this kind of result. You know, it's there's no one uniform way to handle things.
Yeah.
Basically, is what I was figuring out.
So as that job came to an abrupt end, where did you pivot and what was it you were seeing that you wanted for your future?
I thought I was gonna play baseball.
Okay.
You know, I thought I was good. I was all right. But when I figured out that that wasn't going to work, I got a job at Target,
Okay.
and then so it just kept going and going. And then one day, I stayed there till I was about 20, 21 or so. And then I saw something on the internet, and it said, fill this out and we'll give you classes on how to weld. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's try this out. So
Yeah.
I did the welding, got up 6 in the morning, caught two buses to where I had to go weld. Had to catch two buses and then walk a bunch. I don't know how long, but every parent has that story about
Yeah.
how long they had to walk. I definitely have those
And you had
stories.
some snow too.
And some snow. Exactly. So the elements outside were against me as well. But I got it done. I did the welding thing. And then I graduated that and couldn't get a job. They wouldn't hire without having field experience.
Isn't that the
So I was,
worst?
oh,
That's so
it's awful,
discouraging. Yeah, it's
man.
a catch 22, they say, right? Like, okay, we'll give you the job if you had experience.
Right. Like, what have I been doing for the last year? Like, I'm
But
good.
how am
Like,
I going to get the
please.
experience if I don't get a job?
Exactly. And I feel like in certain industries like that, you have to get a lucky break, know
Yeah.
somebody, so don't burn any bridges. That's something for sure. Don't
Hmm.
go burning bridges because you never know. But what I did was I hopped on the internet, and I found me and my brother, who was 10 at the time.
Hmm.
He was like, "Oh, well, why don't you try Columbus? Look in Columbus." I was like, "All right." So I found a welding place in Columbus. It was called Acclaché. That was the temp agency. So I went down there for an interview at Acclaché. They said, "Okay," it was a Friday. They said, "Okay, come back Monday. You start on Monday." I was like, "Whoa." I wasn't ready. I was just, what, really? I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for that, but I jumped in and did it. So I hopped on the computer on a Friday or on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I left on a
Got the
Friday for an
interview for
interview.
Friday.
And now I'm moving 250 miles from my house on Monday. I was so
Did you
scared, but
did you have any hesitation say, no, that's too soon. I'm not going to take the job. I don't think I
oh,
could do that. Did you think like,
yeah.
nah, that was almost too easy. I can get another job next week.
Yeah, I did. I was like, there's no way I could just,
Get
like
up,
my
pack
little
up and go.
brother. Yeah, my friends and everything. I had everything there, but I did it. I packed my stuff. I said, "Mom, I'm leaving. Goodbye." And she's like, "What? What are you doing?" And I was like, I'm going. I'm gonna go try this out. And I ended up there for 10 years.
Did you go all by yourself?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
that's good. I even thinking of you saying you were trying out baseball. There's a good lesson there that you were trying something, but you knew you had to work too. So for people
Yeah.
listening, the idea of pursuing something, whether it surmounts to something in particular or it doesn't, you got to pay some bills. You got to, in this case of you're mentioning you're living with your mom to that point, maybe even helping out or at least not sponging 100% off of the people that are helping you out. And that's, I think there's
Hmm.
part of our nature of just like, okay, well, I'm living here, everything's okay. I did that with my mom up until I think 20 something, right? Like
Hmm.
20 something, like pretty late, just
Yeah.
staying there. But after a while she started charging me rent or taking some of my
Yeah.
check, and I was like, you can't, that's, what is it you were saying to me a moment ago? um I forget what it was, but the idea of I had nothing to say. Oh, when you and I were talking prior to this about having a baby and being in the labor room and
Yeah.
you say you have nothing to say. I can't say anything. When mom's starting to ask for money, what are you gonna say?
Exactly.
What are you
Exactly.
gonna say?
You're just
But
like,
it's a great
well,
lesson, right? For you to pursue that, you get what it, and then you pack up your bags and then you were gone.
yeah, gone. I was gone. And yeah, and I had tried moving out of the house 2 times before that and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So, because of like roommates
Yep.
and rent and the whole, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So when I got the welding job, I was like, okay, they pay enough. I'll be able to hold this down on my own. I don't have to rely on, does Joe have or does who Does my friend have to rent this month, or is anybody covering for somebody else, or whatever is happening?
It's
I
all
don't have
me.
to
Yeah.
deal with that. It's just me.
Yeah.
And I made that work, and I actually met my wife down there, and you know, the rest is still being written. But we've been together for, it'll be 8 years in February.
So 10 years doing welding, is that what you're still doing now, or did you switch to something else?
No, actually, crazy thing is when I went down there to weld, I welded for 6 months, and then they switched my department. I started working with, because it was at Honda.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a branch of Honda. So
Yeah.
I ended up working with like leather and cushions and frames. And I was
Okay.
like, what did I go to school for all that time for? I'm catching multiple buses in the morning, and
Yeah.
it's freezing outside. I'm like, whatever. I'm getting a paycheck, whatever, fine. But I will say that was one of those jobs that they people refer to as having on golden handcuffs.
Okay.
And I got a little bit lost in that. The time went by faster than I thought.
What does that mean? I
Um,
don't think I heard that before. I kind of maybe vaguely have an idea or heard it, but what does that mean, the golden handcuffs? It's so good that you
um,
just can't, but you're stuck to it?
that's basically it. They paid very well there.
Yeah.
So that's where the gold part comes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're stuck. There's not really any room for advancement.
Yeah.
You're doing the same things over and over every day there. Uh, and it's kind of like being in a Vegas casino. There's no windows. There's
Mm-hmm.
no, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's easy to lose track of time in these
Yeah.
places.
And
And next
time
thing
is
you
like
know,
a decade.
exactly, a decade went by, and I was like, whoa, I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
What's my move? What am I really gonna do here? What am I doing?
Would you
So
agree though, Andrew, that there's some people that it's not gold, they're not golden handcuffs for them. It's just they're
yeah,
okay. You know what I'm saying? Like that they're okay for
totally.
doing that 20, 30. But there's other people, maybe like yourself or myself, that are like, I want something different. It's not better. It's better for me, right? Or for
Yeah.
you. But it's some people can do a job for 40 years and
Hmm.
they're happy coming home, doing what they do at home, go to work, get their work done, leave it there and be done with it. And they're not trying to climb some ladder. Would you agree that
Right.
it's not really golden handcuffs for certain people or some people?
100%. Look, if you're fine where you are and you're good and you're content and you're happy,
Yeah.
not content, content's the wrong word. If you're happy,
Mm-hmm.
then do that. 100%. But I hit a point where I wasn't happy anymore. I wasn't content at all, and I was like, okay, I need to make a change. I'm gonna take a leap here.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do something different, because during that my span there, my family is growing,
Mm-hmm.
and there's all kinds of things happening, and I was like, all right,
So what
let's
was your
step
leap?
it up.
What was your step?
Moved back home.
Okay.
I moved back, so I'm back in Cleveland. And I got back here 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been here, and then we started the business. And a friend of mine got me a job, which here that comes back to who you know again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here
Don't
that
burn
is
those
again.
bridges.
Don't burn those bridges. You're gonna need them, and it's hard not to do that sometimes. But um, so the leap was to come back here where the jobs are few,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like the opportunity is huge,
Yeah.
because I have ideas and I have aspirations, and I'm going to show a lot of people in my area first. We're going to start local. We're going to show them something that they've never seen before, and
So
I think they're going to love it.
when you were making the pivot to move back, did you already have a job or did you just move?
I no, I had the job. I had
Okay.
called my friend, and I was like, "Hey, you've been at your spot for 12 years or whatever it is," and he was pretty high up there. I was like, "You got a spot for me?" He was like, "Man, for you, definitely, man. Like,
So what is it you're
just come
doing?
on."
Because I think and then this will get us into Black Gamut. But what job are you doing on the side to help support, or is this totally what you're doing?
No, no. So, maintenance. It's a
Okay.
maintenance. So, boiler room experience with working with boilers and stuff like that. So it's at a Catholic parish,
Okay.
so in church.
Yep.
So it's working out. They pay good.
Yep.
You know,
Very good.
I'm in the area that I was trying to be in, and you know, the plan is definitely not to be there forever. But I'm using what I already had,
Yep.
basically, skills I already had, and I'm just using that. So I've been there for a few years. They
It's
love
good.
me. I love them.
Those
Hmm.
types of I had a just up until recently like a resident manager superintendent job looking after apartment building, dealing with boilers and the heat and the air conditioning and all those sorts of things, and I enjoyed it. Like it was
Yeah.
tough hours. You get like on call 24 hours a day. Like if there's any problems, like that's my
Anything can go wrong at any time. That is a
and it
fact.
does, and it does.
And it does.
But I like this
Absolutely.
about you that you're doing this, but you also have what you're doing now in this network that you're building. So
Hmm.
how did this start, and what is it you're doing each day to promote this? Because I think you have some traction with this now with Black Gamut.
Well, yeah. We're going pretty good, and it's really exciting. It's getting to a point where I saw this, I could see this happening, you know, excuse me, but I could see this happening a long time ago, and it is starting to get to a point that where I saw, and then now that I'm here, I can see it going so much further,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we want, and that's we'll have the ability to make the impact that we're trying to make, like it's going to happen.
I,
So basically, um,
I love that you're doing
I,
with your wife too.
yeah, yeah. Oh, she's the MVP. She's the MVP. This doesn't even happen without her. Straight up. Like I can't be more honest about that.
Yeah.
She is amazing.
That's
I'm
great.
telling you. Yeah,
Andrew,
man.
that's great. I mean, that's you know, as we were talking about growing up single moms, like for a husband and wife to be working on something that you both obviously have a passion for, and then you're calling her your MVP, which
Yeah.
just shows you're doing it right. Although there's always difficulties, but
Of course. Of course.
it's a great thing, and I hope people don't push it off to the side, but like you're doing this with your wife, with six
Right.
children as well.
Exactly. There's that element of it as
Right.
well. But you know, it's we have our routines though.
So what
But
is
what we
Black Gamut and what is it? How is it? How did it begin?
right.
And what is it you're trying to do with it? I know big into the community.
Well, it started when I went to Ohio Media School, and I was driving by them one day. I was still in Columbus. I drove by the school on my way to wherever I was going, and I was like, "Oh, there's Ohio Media School there." So I stopped in. I got a tour. You know, I signed up. I was like, "I love it. I'm signing up. I'm doing it." And I fell in love with being behind a microphone and messing with wave files and like doing all this cool stuff. And so I would mess around with all kinds of projects. I had all kinds of things, you know, because we have to have 160 hours of
Hmm.
time behind a computer doing work of
Hmm.
some kind. And I spent it all in the same place. And so that really sparked, you know, and I already loved sports. So then they got me a sports show on the internet radio. And then I started meeting people. I started getting noticed a little bit. You know, I was getting shout outs and I was like, yo, I have a knack for this, I think. So I'm going to keep it going. So it started there and eventually it evolved to the Black Gamut Entertainment. So where I want to be able to cover all spectrum of everything, not myself, but me and my Black Gamut family. You know, so everybody that's in there, you know, they're an expert of some kind,
Yeah.
you know, in whatever field that it is. And so I just want everyone to be able to contribute, bring something to the table that's a little bit different from someone else.
So do you have requisites for people to come to apply, and how does that process work to be part of the family?
Right. So there's a couple of different ways. You can join our space pods, and that is for people who aren't handpicked. And then the ones that are handpicked by me and or my wife. So the way it's very first started is I just started listening to shows.
Yeah.
I just started listening. So I'm like, okay, here's a show. Let me take some time. I'll take 30 minutes, and then I'll listen to this one. All right, so I'll be like, okay, that one's cool. Write it down. Write all the information down. I'll pick another one. Boom. All right, I'll listen to that one. And so then I just started pitching it. I didn't know if people would buy it or not. I just started pitching it to them like, hey, I'm starting a thing. I'm handpicking podcasts. I'm looking for hosts so we can get some content on our website. And it I got them all. I didn't get everybody.
Yeah.
Let me say that because I had some catching up to do with like the website stuff, but that's all straight now. Our website is clean. But basically that's how it started. And now it's gotten to a point where I don't want to handpick at this time because I was doing all of the production for everyone. Or not for everyone, for most of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of swamping me. So that's when we started Space Pods. So Space Pods is basically you come in, you do the same thing that you always been doing, but whoever you're outsourcing your editing with or production with or music or logos, whatever, you can do that with us and we'll hook you up. It's still that we're charging now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the difference between what other people are doing and what we're doing is you become a part of Black Gamut. Now your show has a show goal. So now your show is going to be directly responsible for impacting other people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
who you don't know or see or have to deal with. I'll deal with all of that. I see things out in the community and I see people that need help. And I think I found a really good way to help them out.
How is what you're doing with the space pods different than your hand picking? What was the slight difference or big difference where it was swamping you more? Just wondering on like a technical level.
Oh, well, basically with the space pods, now I have interns that go to Ohio Media School. So now I hand the editing off to them and they have someone who is going to relay directly to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talk to them and then they talk to the interns to get the editing done and the production done and whatever done. So, but as far as with the handpicked, I deal with all of them directly.
Okay.
But I can talk to anybody anytime. I'm not gonna ignore anyone.
Yep.
Somebody got an issue. My number is all over the place. It's all over. It's easy to find the business. Excuse me, the business number. You can hit me up anytime, and I'll pick up. I make time for the Black Gamut family, regardless if you're handpicked or space pods. We're in this together. We're trying to impact people.
It's interesting. You said you and your wife are picking. Do you guys ever come to a disagreement about who you got on there, who you don't got on there? Right. But it's good. I mean, it's so different than a business partner. Like she's your business partner, but like just an outsourced business partner who might have their own, their own slant to it. But where it's your wife, like you guys are truly building this together. So it's just like in marriage for any sort of topic, right? Like there's going to be the difference of, well, I think this should be it. And I don't know. I think we should go here. No, I think we should go there. I heard someone say, I've never heard God speak or the Holy Spirit speak or something said, but listening to my wife, I'm pretty sure I did. There's something along those lines. And the idea, like, that is great that you guys are able to bounce in a relationship and marriage, to bounce those ideas off each other. And probably, I mean, for myself, I get stubborn. If you're willing to listen to your wife, she might be right more oftentimes than not.
Yeah. I have to agree with that 100%. 100%.
Unfortunately,
it's never fun. It's never fun being wrong, but
that's great.
and that relates to what you were saying earlier. The difficulties of like everything that's happening and going on. You're not always gonna see eye to eye. You're not always gonna be on the same page. But you do the best. Look, if you just do the best that you can do, do the best you can. That's it. That's all anybody can do. And then you go from there. You learn from this, you learn from that, you move forward and do better.
Andrew,
That's it.
what takes up your time? I mean, besides your full-time job, but with Black Gamut, what is it you're doing each day, or what does your typical week look like for people who are podcasting, people who are getting into networks? What does your
Mhm.
workload look like now?
Oh, it's up there. So I'm editing for some shows. I've already done production for a lot of them, but that's not something that has to be continuous unless they want to change for like the next season
Yeah.
or something. Marketing, we build these marketing templates. We've gotten very familiar with Adobe Spark and a couple of other programs. So we're starting to dabble into that. Well, not just starting to. We've been doing it for a while now, but we just try to do anything that's gonna help pick up the pace for the podcast. So we'll go on to Facebook and we'll find Facebook groups that relate to the podcast. We take the podcast or the live show or the YouTube channel. We make sure that we are allowed to post into the groups and we
Hmm.
post them up in the groups, and then we say, hey, you guys have questions? You guys want to know more or whatever? And that's made a huge difference, and then we do things like that. Anything to help boost
Yeah.
the career.
You have well, three with your family, full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know where I'm here, I'm in South Korea teaching English, and I have it pretty easy out here. I mean, it's just the hours wise, there's just not that many. So I spend most of my time doing podcasting, production, and all of those sorts of things. And it takes up more time than my regular job. I couldn't imagine. I'm sure you're working in what you're doing with your full-time job, a full-time amount of hours, and
Yeah.
then building, promoting all that you're doing with Black Gamut, as well as with your family. You're a busy man.
Yeah, very. Yes, very. And finding a balance is so important. And actually, me and my wife were just talking about that because sometimes I get a little bit obsessive and I don't want to stop because you know how you're at the computer. I'm sure you've been there. You're at the computer working. You're tired. You could fall asleep in the chair if you want, but then you get that second wind,
Hmm.
and you just kind of go forever. You just kind of go forever. It's 4 a.m. I've taken care of the baby twice then by then, and now I'm ready to lay down. It's 4:30, 5 o'clock. Oh, but now the kids got to get up for her virtual learning now.
Yeah.
And now we got to deal with that. And then by the time, as soon as school is out, that's when I leave to get to work.
Yeah.
So, finding a balance is and notice I didn't mention hanging out with my wife or spending
Yeah.
time.
Seriously though.
Sometimes that's so important. Sometimes I just get that way and I just I get in work mode. It's
Yeah.
go time, it's
Yeah.
go mode, and I don't stop. And she's there to be like, hey, it's been a couple weeks,
How
man.
do you
Like
guys
you've
do
been
that?
going hard.
How are you finding those? I asked the question of work-life choices. How are you, and it's difficult as you're saying, but how are
Mhm.
you getting better at maybe, or, as we get older, more mature, how are you maturing at turning the work off? How are you able to do that, or how are you um, s- learning how to perfect it?
Well, it's good to think ahead about these things, about the time, about downtime.
Yeah.
It's really good to because I mean some people just have downtime and look, I'm totally jealous of those people. You know what I'm saying? I don't if my whole days, our whole days are filled, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
stacked together. But if you can think ahead about, okay, at this time, I am not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna go hang out here. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna, whatever it may be. Take, get a babysitter, take the wife out somewhere, or whatever it might be. Just
Hmm.
whatever. But I have to plan ahead. Like okay, technically at 5 o'clock, I won't have anything to do. So I'll be like, okay, well, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go up, hang out with the girls. we'll play with the little dolls and the little Shopkins and the whatever. And then after that, I'll cook dinner with the wife and we'll eat and we'll watch a movie. And now it's 9:30, 10 o'clock. She's getting sleepy, tired. I am not. I'm hopping back on the
Yeah.
computer.
In
You
the
know
back
what I'm
of your
saying?
mind, I got to get
In my,
something done. I got to
I
get
got,
something done.
of course, it never ever leaves. But it's okay as long as you're balancing everything.
Taking care of your
Hmm.
priorities.
Exactly, and it's all very important to, and like my wife says, to stop and smell the roses sometimes.
No way.
That is important for sure.
What is difficult about running this operation that you're doing with Black Gamut? What is
Mm.
difficult? What are you finding difficult? It's only been a couple years, right? Or if that at this point,
Since March,
right?
we
Yeah.
actually, yeah, we started then, and we've come so far. It's hard to like stop.
I
It's like,
know.
or slow down.
But
It's
see,
like,
you get
okay,
that traction, right? You're getting
yeah.
some traction, like, and there's someone next door working just as hard or harder. And if you stop,
Hmm. They
it's
have
done
an advantage on me.
right there.
Right, exactly.
So what do you find
Um,
difficult about this in this process the last, whatever, 6, 7 months?
so I've never been a very organized person. So keeping everything organized has been a challenge. I'm getting a lot better at it, especially with her help. But I would have a meeting here and a meeting there and a meeting there. And in between that, I have to get 2 podcasts edited. And then in between there, I have to, you know, the some smell funky. So a baby has poop diaper. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take care of that too. And then by the time, if I get pulled away, you know, for one thing, that's in 5, and then I get back to what I was doing, and I'm not sure exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I may start something totally different, and then be like, "Oh, wait, I was doing that one thing. I got to do that." So it's tough staying organized, but it is getting a lot easier as time goes on. We're developing like a habits, good habits, and
Well,
just
it's also
schedules.
too, I think it's admirable where you started it, and I'm sure you would agree that I mean, you went to school for it as well, so you had some idea of what you were doing, but as you start this, you're learning, you're finding new things that you have to do. So to manage it,
Mm.
we wouldn't know how to manage it at first because we didn't know what we're up against.
Right, right. There's a new things around every corner, and that is something for sure. There's a be like, oh, okay, I haven't dealt with this situation yet, so how are we gonna attack this one? And then something else comes up. It's like, I don't know about this situation either. What are we gonna do here? Let's try to figure it out. You know.
So with Black Gamut, the idea being helping communities where I guess where the podcasters are in particular, but it has a global reach. What satisfaction are you finding? What are you seeing out of the fruits of your labor?
Oh, oh man. My contact list is impressive. I
If I do say
I
so myself.
right, if I do say so myself. Right. But it's exciting because I never thought that I would meet so many high up people and have a lot to talk about with them. Because podcasting itself is kind of intriguing because anybody can do it. If you put the
Mhm.
effort into it,
Yeah.
you can do it. And if you have a message that you want to spread, this is the way. This is
Mhm.
the way to do it. I don't care who you are. I've talked to he was a multi-platinum artist in the 90s uh by with No Limit Records, who I was obsessed with back in the 90s, and so I talked to him on the phone for over an hour, and it was one of the best conversations it was just so eye-opening and amazing, and he's thinking about coming on with us, and he's getting involved, and he sent me some of his people that might be interested, and they're also connected in the music industry, and they're also successful. And so it's just kind of started to snowball, and it's like these people are they love the idea and they love what we're trying to do, and but it's real though. That's what they love about it.
Mhm.
It's organic as hell. I'm not asking for anything from anybody. You know, I'm not asking nothing from you. You just give me your time, energy, and effort, and we're gonna make some things happen. Because when it all comes down to it, the bottom line is how many people are we gonna be able to impact?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And then with Ohio Media School, some of their higher ups, I'm talking to them. They're seeking me out, and we have great conversations, and it's just really exciting. And it's not stopping.
It was wise for you to reach out to them to get them to help you, but it also helps
Hmm.
them as well, right? Some of these kids that are coming in through school, maybe older, I'm not sure, but it gives
Yeah.
them some valuable hand-on experience.
Yes, absolutely. It helps them out tremendously because when I was going through it, I really wished, I wish that there was something like a Black Gamut, you know, to give me assignments, to give me something to do.
Yeah. I think we froze there for a little bit.
Intern hours, because I was good. But if there were a Black Gamut, we do paid internships, you
Yeah,
know?
that's really good. And you're thinking of Black Gamut and what you started since March. What skill for people thinking of, I mean, you mentioned it too, of if you have a message, you can do podcasting, right?
Hmm.
It's interesting because I've talked to a few people and they have said they're interested, but they're scared, they're nervous. But I find this is sort of industry that we don't need to be. I mean, we were talking about football earlier.
Hmm.
It's not a competition against us, it's a competition to make us better. So the more podcasters, it doesn't really matter. This is not like a Samsung Apple telephone market where we're scared of another competitor. You have your message, I have my message, and
Yeah.
all the power to the people that are getting into it. So with your experience since March and even before that, what is a skill that you're learning that people might want to consider to really hone in on?
Um, multitasking. Multitasking. I have to be able to do that. While I'm at work at the good old 9 to 5, as
Yeah,
so to speak, I'm working while I'm there too.
yeah,
I'm researching. I'm listening to podcasts.
yeah.
I'm listening to other people's advice. I'm sending messages, and I'm still getting my work done. And then even when I'm at home, again, it's multitasking, and that was challenging. It's not easy, to do, and especially to do it effectively. You have to, if you, it's cool to be doing three things at once, but if you do all three of them really
Poorly.
bad, then you're not helping anybody. So you have to be able to be effective with it and be able to segment what you're attacking and how you're attacking it. That for me has been enormous.
Yeah, I love some of the tips I've been receiving of people. There's a thing, I think, todo.com, which makes perfect sense, like a to-do list you can have, and people
Mm,
use things like Trello and stuff, but other people just use like notepads and
yeah.
whatever it is, but just something to help yourselves. We all need it. There's no way we can keep it in our heads and like, oh, I got it all under control. Not in my head
No,
anyway. Certainly
yeah,
not.
right. Not mine. I know that.
So
No,
it's
I got. Uh huh.
it's just one of those things for us to realize that, and especially younger, right? Like thinking, I don't recall when I was younger, like writing things down to plan things out, but it's really effective, and especially if you have some goals and some dreams, but also those little tasks that we have each day to help us stay on track.
Yeah, that's crucial. It's absolutely crucial. And it took me a little bit to figure that out because I was one of those people that like, oh, okay, I just remember it. I have a pretty good memory. I'll just remember this and remember that and remember that. But then when you start forgetting things or slipping up on them, other people are affected by that. And I don't want to affect people in a negative way. That's not the goal here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're trying to be as positively effective as possible.
I-
So that's
Is
it.
is there a tool that you use now, or maybe one that you're looking to do that helps you stay effective? Something that maybe it's your phone, maybe it's some sort of app or something. Is there something that you've started to use to help you stay on track with your work?
Google Docs. Google
Okay.
Docs are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing. I also have my handy dandy notebook. You
Mhm.
know, that's always nearby somewhere. I was looking for when you showed me mine. I'm like, oh wait, where's my one of my kids probably snatched it. It's upstairs, papers ripped out, I'm sure. But anyways, um, you know, keeping separate projects in their separate folders and then having certain sections of your notebook for certain information or whatever it may be, that allows me to put forth mentally and physically, then that's really important, mentally and physically, forth the energy to get other things done, you know, and efficiently, you know, because I can't take, you know, 2 hours to I don't know, send an email. That might be a
Mhm.
bad example, but that would be super inefficient and you know, negatively affecting other people.
Yeah.
You know, so and I don't need that. Like I can't sit down at the computer like, okay, who am
Yeah.
I messaging
Yeah.
today
What
or
am I gonna
whatever?
do?
Like, no,
Yeah.
like I need to sit down and be like, all right, I'm sending Linda an email about this, and I'm going to include this information, you know, and bang, 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 10 minutes, you know, it, that's all it should take, you know, for some of the things. So that's super important.
Those sorts of tools to help you stay efficient. Andrew, thinking back when you were shoveling snow or when you were working at
Hmm.
McDonald's or having other jobs with welding or upholstery, even in what you're doing now, thinking of people who get into work for their first job. So you first time you started to shovel a driveway for some money, or you switched a job where you moved 300 miles away,
Yeah.
the uncertainty of that, of starting work. Do you have a tip for people getting into work or even changing their job?
Oh, wow. Of changing your job, that especially when you've been there for a while, you'll feel when you need to make that change.
Yeah.
You'll feel it. It's going to be undeniable. You may get a hint here and there. You may get a little twitch here and there. Like maybe I should get out of here. You'll know when it's time to go. You know, when you your life is no longer allowing you uh this segment anymore.
Hmm. Hmm.
You move on and you do it. You can't don't ever just up and do it. You know, you have to think about it. Once you get that feeling, you okay, I'm gonna leave this place, but what am I gonna do next?
Yeah. Have a
That
plan.
is, yeah, you gotta have a plan. Yeah, I have plans A through Z. You know, you're not gonna catch me slipping. I'm not slipping at all. So, you know, that's the best way that I can put that. You have to plan it out, and you have to have foresight. You know,
Yeah.
that's really important. How is this gonna affect this person? How's this gonna affect that person? How's it gonna affect me? You
Hmm.
know, so that's what I would say. You gotta have a plan.
And also we were talking about earlier the idea of not being afraid, but as you have another dream or aspiration, get a job. Whatever it
Yeah,
is, work. I mean, and I can't say I've always worked during my working years. There was times that I didn't, but I probably should have been. And this is someone
right.
looking back saying, be be actionable. Do
Yeah,
something, even if it's just working full time, finding a job,
yeah,
like those sorts of
absolutely.
things.
Actionable. That's huge. That's perfect.
Thinking also of back in the day, is there a mistake that you would have made or someone that gave
Woo.
you a lesson that you weren't mature enough to listen to, that you
Mm.
could see the lesson in now, like either a mistake or someone's advice that you weren't really willing to listen to, that you can share with us?
Oh, let's see. Oh man, there's what to choose from here. I made a bunch of bonehead moves. That's for sure. So I
So did I.
have
Yeah.
right. I have just walked out of a job for sure. You know, with rent. Like I had rent. I didn't have kids then,
Yeah.
but with rent due and you know people depending on me to take care of me, you know, and
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what, these people made me mad, they disrespected me, you know. uh there's a very different culture when you're outside of work and then when you're in the workspace.
Yeah.
It's very different, and you have to treat them accordingly.
The way
And I
we need
wasn't.
to represent ourselves, the way we need to act inside the workplace.
Yes, inside the workplace, and yes, you're supposed to go to HR for problems. You're supposed to get dress a certain way, and and just be professional. But growing up like where I grew up, if somebody disrespects you, you handle that totally different than what you would in the workplace. But a lot of people don't. They confuse that. They bring the outside into the workplace.
I
That
got
is a
one.
gigantic mistake.
I got one for you, Andrew.
What was that?
I had a job just at a high school. I got a promotion. I was working as a housekeeper. I got a promotion to be like a head housekeeper, looking over all the people. So we went out to the staff bar that night. I got my promotion. It was pretty big because it was only there for a short period of time. I got the promotion. I was playing pool with another guy who had another position, bell. This was a big hotel, and he worked as a bellman, getting the bags and stuff and bring them up. And that was like key because you get the tips and all this stuff. And I
Right.
was playing pool with him. He and I were like going at it. He's like, "Hey, yeah, you got a promotion. That's great. How about you bring me your resume and stuff, and I'll see." Because I had another buddy that worked in too. He's like, "Yeah, I can get you a job in there. Just give you some time where you are now, and because that's you move up through the hotel industry." And he bumped into, we were playing pool and we're drinking, and he bumped into another guy, and the other guy was mouthing off to him. So I jumped in the middle and I was like, "Don't mess with my
Mm.
friend." And this guy and I got in a fight. I get fired the next day.
Mm.
I lost it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that certainly, and not only that, the head of the hotel was there at the bar, and the lady who just promoted me was there at the bar.
Oh.
I mean, that was the time of Tyson and Holyfield. This guy bit me in the ear, ripped my ear. I had to get
Whoa.
stitches. It was a horrible scene, but that's not the way to handle the
Right,
situation.
exactly. Exactly. It's just not. You can't cross them over.
You
You
can't
can't
do
do it.
that. You can't do that. Like, and it was in the staff bar, so that was that was your place of work,
Right.
right? You're not out of the owl's eyes of what's going on. Everyone knows everyone, and there is certainly a different way to act. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be acting that way anywhere, but the idea is you got to really watch out what you do, and to be
Mhm.
respectful of the people you're working with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's I think that's how I got canned from McDonald's. Yeah, that was it. Someone threw a fish sandwich at me from the counter to back to the grill, and I threw it back. I threw it back. No, that makes sense in the world.
Oh, it was perfect sense. What else would you have done?
Exactly. And they told me I had to go. I had to leave. So
All
that
right.
was that. So yeah, you can't cross it over. You just can't do it.
It's not your way right away. That wasn't McDonald's, was it? Was that Burger King? All right, your way right away. I'm out.
Right.
I'm out of,
Right.
I'm out of here.
Exactly.
Think, Andrew, is there an overarching goal that you have with Black Gamut? Is there something that, or even smaller goals that you have with your work?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot.
And
The one that
mind you, on the back of my head, I'm thinking you want to get to the Cleveland game. Are you all right?
oh, I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah, yeah. We got time for
Are you
sure.
all right?
Yep,
Okay.
no doubt.
I don't want to. I don't. I'm like, oh no, I got to get through this so I don't miss the game. But yeah, the
Hey,
idea
no
of any
problem.
goals for what you're accomplishing.
Yeah. So let's see. The first goal that we're gonna try for is uh teaming up with the Imagination Library with Dolly Parton's group. So basically, we
Speaking
team
of
up with
9 to 5, yeah.
right. We're gonna team up with them, and they're gonna give us a whole bunch of books, and we're gonna mail books out for free to kids in the area for 5 years. For 5 years, they'll get one free book in the mail a month. So that is what we want to do so bad. We want to do
Very good.
that, and then the next the next one is pretty big. Is we want to start a class. This one is huge for me, huge. we want to start a class out here, right around in my neighborhood that teaches people stocks and financial responsibility and oh goodness gracious,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
list of there's a big list of
That's great though.
taxes.
I wish I knew that as
Yeah,
a kid, you know? Like I
yes.
don't even know it now. So I mean
Me
this
either. I'll be in that
I'll be like,
class.
I mean, move over kids. I got my notebook. What's going on? But that's so true.
Exactly.
No, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things that the schools just kind of skip out on, skim over,
Yeah,
and they teach us what the government wants us to know and send us on our way. And I'm like,
true.
what's credit? What's bankruptcy?
Yeah.
What's an overdraft? Like, what? What is this? I used to go to I was super young, so try not to judge me, but I would go to the bank, stick my card in, and I knew I only had $2 in there. I would take 40. I'm like,
So
yeah, whatever.
what do you mean? I did the same thing. I thought that was like
Right,
free extra. I knew I was there. Over
right,
what? Over what? You guys aren't giving me
exactly.
that.
Overdraft, huh? Y'all just gave me $40. I'm good. But no, absolutely not. Now you owe the man. Now you owe these
Yeah.
people, and the debt climbs every day.
Mhm.
And like, oh my goodness, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, there'll be people calling you, and you don't want them calling you. So,
Oh, you don't want them problems. Ooh, you don't want them
thinking
problems.
of that, Andrew, and I think you and I have very similar backgrounds. Thinking of character, I can't speak much of my own character. Even now, it's waning. It's wanting. It's falling short. But how important is it to really consider our integrity in the things that we do and how we grow?
Oh, well, as far as for me, I know I got all of these little eyes on me every day,
Don't you?
seeing
I know,
everything
eh?
that I do, mimicking my moves and
It's
looking for
amplified with 6
inspiration.
too, right? Like, I have 2 kids, and they're
Yeah.
both kinda acting like me. I'm like, "Maybe it's just a coincidence." You have 6, and they're all doing it like, "Oh,
Maybe it's a
okay."
coincidence. It's not. They looking at you when you don't think they are, they are.
Yeah,
And when you know they are, they definitely
yeah,
are.
yeah.
So it's like you have to just, here's what I think, and I truly believe this to the bottom of my heart. I said it earlier, but I swear I live every day like this. No matter what happens, good or bad, you wake up the next day and you do the best that you can do. Just do the best you can do, and it will work out. It'll work out. Put your best energy into it. uh you know Think about it if it's really important, especially how you're going to attack it. But every day you wake up, it's a clean slate to me. And we're just going
Andrew,
to do as best we can.
is forgiveness, does that run through your family? The idea of forgiveness and being sorry? I mean, I'm only assuming that it does, but it would have to be with the ups and the downs and the difficulties and all of that. Is that a thread that runs through your family and your work?
uh as far as family, we forgive for sure. We don't forget. That is crucial.
Yeah,
That's crucial because look, the past can teach you a lot about the
absolutely.
future.
Yeah.
It can teach you a lot that you cannot ignore the past by any means. But yeah, having um uh, I'm not sure how to put it. Having an open mind, I feel like, is really important.
Yeah.
Accepting people for who they are, uh, and knowing what you're dealing with. People tell other people who they are all the time, and then people don't believe them or don't
Mhm.
want to hear it or don't want to
Mhm.
believe it. No, no, no. This person just told you exactly who they are. Do not, ignore it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really important factor, especially that we teach around here, that
Yeah.
the kids
Forgive,
have to be savvy. That you got to be savvy out in these parts, or you
forgive,
get
don't
ate up.
forget. Yeah. There's a lot of
Yeah.
lessons and a lot of people, yeah, though you get eaten up.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I've seen it. I've seen it too many times, and I'm like, that's not gonna be my kids. It's not gonna be me and mine. So,
Andrew, I only have a few more questions for you. Is there something about your work or about you and what you're doing that people may not understand that you would like them to understand so that they can have a better appreciation of you?
Hmm. Of me, yeah. So the business really embodies who I am as a person. It really does. And I'm hoping that's why it's doing well.
Yeah.
I think so because like even with the podcast, we revenue share. Why do we do that? It's to build a team environment. It's to help other hosts push the next host to do well.
Yeah.
We should want everyone else to do well, but that unfortunately that doesn't happen naturally for a lot of people. So I put that in place because now this is a good way for you to actually care about who is going to excel with Black Gamut, so like your other hosts are pushing different host content, and they're giving them advice, they're giving them tips, they're all of this other stuff. So I'm trying to build the ultimate team. That's what I want, and that's what we need. And the revenue sharing, for example, it's I won't get way into it or anything, but 75% of what they make. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. 25% of what they make gets shared across the board with
Mm-hmm.
everyone who has the
Mm-hmm.
same amount of sponsors.
Okay.
So they get your 25%, you get their 25%, but since it's so many hosts, that 25% really adds up. You're getting a piece of everybody's everything and they're getting a piece of yours.
Yeah.
So it's just cycling around, and it makes too much sense to me to not do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps it fair, it keeps it honest,
It
and if
helps
someone
people
has
who are just getting into it too. Like if they're not
exactly.
getting anything and it gives them a leg up to help them. And then once
Mhm.
they start getting traction, then they're going to do it for someone that is coming up behind them too.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have 3 sponsors, you're not sharing with those who have 2, you're sharing with those who have 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it just it just builds the team
Yeah.
better to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually got that idea from a real estate agency.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a
Yeah.
competitive industry and they would know how to balance things out and make things a little bit more fair for their agents.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's putting in the work. So there's no complaining like, oh, well, I'm making this, but they're only doing this much work and I'm doing all of this work. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
We're all doing
It's
what
a
we got
team.
to do because it's set that way. If you're not putting in the work, you're not getting the fruits of the labor. You just aren't. It won't happen, you know?
Thinking of things that didn't happen, is there any adversity that may have happened or something that didn't happen in your life that you came up across, whether professionally or not, that helped you and drove you better in your work with some adversity in your life?
Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna put my mom on the spot right now. She's a hard woman to please. She's a hard woman to please, and she always is expecting the best of me and from me, and striving just for that, has
To
gotten me
please your
pretty
mom?
far. You say that again?
To please your mom? To
Well,
is that
yeah, you can say that. It's more of a how can I say, like, if I were still at McDonald's,
yeah,
she would probably be pretty disappointed in where my life is,
yeah.
especially with 6 kids. So something like that. She's not the type that's just gonna accept anything, and she's gonna give me an earful when I screw up, and I don't want an earful. I
Well,
don't
it's
want that at all.
good for you, Andrew. My mom just happened to pass away this February of cancer,
Oh,
and
I'm so sorry,
there's
man.
thank you, but the idea of, especially coming from a single mom background or being raised by a single mom,
Mhm.
is there's something in us that wants our mom to be proud. Right.
Yes.
And we want to show like, look, our kids, look how well they're growing up, or look what they're doing now, look what they just did. And I hope I hope this is not to end it, but hope you all the best in that, because after my mom's passing, I noticed my kids are doing something, or I started the podcast, or something else happened, and I want to tell my mom. I want to show my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like same with a dad or anything else with anyone else listening. But the idea of not putting everything into just pleasing our parents or guardians or people in our
Right.
lives, but having a motivation to show them that by their sacrifices, look, I'm making something of myself, and I hope that you're proud of what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That means the world to me. And I'll say it again, man. I'm really sorry to hear that, but that is something that helps push me along. I have plenty of motivation. Like
Yeah.
my kids aren't gonna be young forever either, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have some explaining to do
Yeah.
if I don't execute when they're older and they're like, so dad,
Yeah.
why is your car three different colors? What's going on there? You
Mhm.
know, or whatever it may be, you
Yeah.
know. I need to be able to, and also I'm getting experience that I'll be able to pass on to them. If
Absolutely.
this thing doesn't get to where I hope it can go, maybe one of them can get it there, you
Yeah.
know, because they see me work and I have them on my lap all the time when I'm working. That, you know, I used to write articles weekly for this online media outlet, pigskinnut.com, and I would have my daughter on my shoulders while in this very chair while I'm right here typing, you know, and I'm looking at my notes and I'm looking at stuff on the computer and I'm typing and she's there and she's having a great time. You know, they, I, you know, I
Doesn't
need
one
to
of your
show them.
daughters, doesn't one of your daughters have a podcast? Is that not true? Was that
Yes. Yep.
right? So I
Hmm.
mean, they're already following in your footsteps.
Right. Right. Exactly. So, you know, she's gonna be pretty awesome. She's awesome now,
Yeah, yeah,
but she's, you know, as time goes, you know, you get better with time, you know, and you know, because we clean everything up for her, we make it sound good, we get it straight, and she reads her stories, and you know, she loves it, you know. So, and then the other ones are asking to do it too, and I'm like, dude, you're 6. What?
Well,
We
that's the
could
same
try.
way. Yeah, yeah. My
Right,
daughter
we could
likes
try.
getting behind the microphone, and she'll sing some songs and stuff.
Yeah,
We haven't gotten into
exactly.
her own podcast yet. Thinking of the adversity that you have faced, Andrew, or the adversity that you're facing, the difficulties, but also other people that are facing adversity now. Do you have any advice for them, whether it's in their work, or maybe they lost a job, losing some people, whatever it may be? Do you have advice for people who face
Ooh,
adversity?
who face adversity? Yes, like okay, so I wasn't born this way, but I'll tell you, I have become Mr. Silver Lining.
Yeah.
There, you can take something positive from just about anything. I won't say everything, but I'll say just about every situation. You can find a very positive um part of that, and you latch onto it and attack that, and you put everything you believe into that silver lining, you know, as long as it's true,
Yeah.
you know. And there's you're gonna face adversity, you're gonna face challenges, you're gonna have doubters, you're gonna have plenty of people telling you you can't do it. I have that still all the time. You know, good friends of mine who are in the business with me tell me that this is not gonna work and this and that, and I'm like, really? Is it not? You know, so you know,
Yeah.
it'll
Thanks
never
a lot.
go away. Right? Exactly. It'll never go away. It'll never stop. But you keep your head down. You stick to your guns. If you know that you're on the right path and you know you're doing everything that you can do, it's gonna work out.
Hmm.
It's gonna.
I would
Absolutely.
even challenge you to say everything has a silver lining. I mean,
Right.
I would even
Right.
say there's always something. There's always a different way to look at a situation. It's not always easy, and sometimes it's impossible
There it
to find
is.
it right in the
There
midst
it
of
is.
the mud and the mire. It's hard to think that things could be better, or they could be worse, I guess, in that sense. But
Mhm.
there is always a silver lining, and I think that's great advice. Andrew, how can people reach out to you? How can people connect with you?
Oh, well, you can go to Instagram at Black Gamut ENT. It's the same with Twitter, and then Facebook is Black Gamut Entertainment. If all else fails, go to Black Gamut BrianEnt.com. We've got all our socials. I've got the business number there, the email. You can email me whenever if you're interested in anything, trying to get more information. You have a question about production, editing, outsource type stuff like that, or you want to be a part of the family. We would love to have people on. If you're passionate about what you do, passionate about what you talk about, we're interested in you. That's a fact right there. And it's easy to tell if somebody is passionate about what they're doing. So we'll be able to tell, and we'll be more than happy to talk to anyone for sure.
Speaking of passion, Andrew, one final question. Why do you work?
I'm oh boy, that is a loaded question right there. Why do I work? Because I love it. I love working hard. I can't get enough. I'm a workaholic, and I can't see myself doing anything else than what I'm doing right now.
From 10 years old shoveling snow to now with your own podcast network, full-time job,
Mm-hmm.
6 kids, and a wife who obviously loves you and you're a good team. Andrew Roberts, Black Gamut Entertainment, thank you for your time, and I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot for having me on. You're a solid dude, man.